So we have Isabella Drew on Instagram. She says, "Hi there. I saw on your YouTube channel that you've been to both Fox and Franz Josef Glacier when you were in New Zealand." We still are in New Zealand. If you don't mind me asking, which one did you like the most? I know that Franz Josef is the most popular, but we want to do a heli-hike with good photo opportunities, great sceneries, blue ice caves, not too crowded, and with the most value for money. Some advice will be very much appreciated. All right, so this is the question that we get really often. Like, which one is the best glacier hike? We know that it's probably one of the most expensive activities that you're going to be doing in New Zealand. It's around $400 at the moment. So per person, so it gets really pricey, but it is absolutely amazing. And it's sadly the glaciers are receding very fast, so it's something that may not be available 10 years from now. So obviously almost everybody coming to New Zealand, especially to the South Island, because all the commercial glaciers are on the South Island, they want to know which one is the best. And right here, Isabella asks between Franz and Fox Glacier, which are both on the West Coast, but we actually be comparing Tasman Glacier as well, which is one of the really popular one as well in the South Island. It's a really long one, and we really think it's a really good contender. So let's get started with Franz Josef Glacier, which, as Isabella mentioned, is by very far the most popular glacier in New Zealand. Laura, tell us about the Franz Josef Glacier.
So the main reason Franz Josef Glacier is the most popular is because it was the first glacier that, started doing heli-hikes and hiking tours onto. It's been around for years and years and years, and it's basically the one that everyone's heard about. With that, there's actually quite a lot of tour companies that do heli-hikes onto the Franz Josef Glacier, a lot more than the other glaciers in New Zealand. So if you're looking for something a little less crowded, Franz Josef sort of has the reputation of being a little less intimate. So although you are just going with your one tour group up onto the glacier, you can see a few other tour groups around when you are looking around the glacier. And there is a lot of helicopter traffic going up ahead. So just bear that in mind for Franz Josef Glacier. But nevertheless, you still sort of feel like you often do feel like you are alone on the glacier because you are just with your tour group. You're going through sort of deep crevasses, so there's often times where you are just surrounded by ice. You're just following your guide on a trail that the guide is basically making for you. And the thing to note with any of the glacier tours in New Zealand is that no two tours are the same. The glaciers are always changing, and the different routes they take you on the glacier is always going to be different. So you're going to be seeing different things all the time, whether it's ice caves or going through sort of narrow tunnels and stuff like that. Or even just walking along the surface of the glacier. It's different every time, so it is hard to say like, oh yeah, this glacier has this and this glacier has that. But yeah, Franz Josef is definitely the most popular one to get to. It's super accessible. You just rock up at Franz Josef Glacier town, go to the base of whichever company you choose to go to. They get you in a helicopter, which literally takes about 10 minutes to go and land onto the glacier. And the views are absolutely incredible as you are flying over to the glacier. But yeah, that's basically what Franz Josef Glacier is. It's obviously the most busiest one, but it has some of the best priced tours, I think. They're a little bit cheaper, just to bear in mind that the prices of each of the glacier tours are all around $400 mark. But yeah, I think they're just like a tiny bit cheaper than elsewhere if budget is what you have in mind.
Yeah, another thing I would say for Franz Josef Glacier is that the advantage that it has, because it's the most popular, the town is a little bit more developed. So if the weather basically shuts all the flight down there, you still have some options. You can go to the pools, you can go to the Kiwi Wildlife Center. There is quite a few things to do around, so it gives you a bit of an option.
Yeah, actually, I was going to say that isn't a point I made actually, is that the weather at Franz Josef Glacier.
There you go.
So the weather at Franz Josef Glacier, this is actually the glacier known to have the most sort of closed days, which is basically when the weather is too cloudy or too rainy or too windy for helicopters to go up there and basically for you to do your heli hike. So there is a greater chance of your tour getting moved back or cancelled at Franz Josef Glacier. So do bear that in mind.
Yeah. All right, moving on to Fox Glaciers then. Do we have another point?
I think that's everything.
All right, so Fox Glacier is the second most popular glacier in New Zealand. It's located 30 minutes south of Franz Josef.
Yeah, I'd say. Very short drive.
Obviously, it depends how you drive. We always drive really slow because we're filming all the time. But yeah, so it's about 30-minute drive below Fox Glacier, south of Fox Glacier, Franz Josef Glacier, sorry, but that's all. Fox Glacier is located 30 minutes south of Franz Josef Glacier. Now, the good thing about its location is that if the weather shuts down Franz Josef Glacier, very often Fox Glacier is still open. So that's your great backup option if you want to go there. Now, Fox Glacier only has one company that operates on the glacier, so that means that you only have one choice, and it is a little bit more expensive because there is less competition to go through. But you literally just walk up right from the highway, you park at the Fox Glacier Guide base, and they take you from there. It's very simple. It's like unmissable, basically. So which is always quite good. Now the glacier itself is quite interesting because the glacier doesn't go down straight. It actually goes down in a bit of a bend, and because it goes down in a bit of a bend, it actually breaks the ice quite early on in the glacier. And where you do the hike is after where you do the heli hike is after the bend, meaning that it is probably the glacier that offers the most ice cave and the most kind of those kind of deep blue pictures that you're going to be able to get. So it's kind of an interesting glacier to visit for sure. Now the other thing is that compared to Franz Josef glaciers that have many operators operating with a lot of helicopter passing by, well, you only have one company. So if you hear a helicopter, it is yours. So it definitely feels a little bit more of an intimate tour to visit the Fox Glacier over there. So we've done the Fox Glacier as well as the Franz Josef glaciers, and we have a video about it. If you guys want to check it out, it's quite an amazing experience. There is ice cave. There is big, massive, super desolated land. It feels quite amazing. And the valley itself is also really, really amazing. Now, the one thing that I will point out for Fox Glacier, though, is that the glacier, because there is the bend, it changes even more than Franz Josef Glacier. So when Laura says there is no two of the same, it will be the same. It will be even more true in Fox Glacier. Because of the bend, there is so many different stuff. So it's quite amazing to see that it looks standstill as a glacier, right? But it changes so much. It's quite incredible. So Fox Glacier is also a really good option. Now, right now we're kind of more describing and giving you the pros and cons of that. And then at the end of the video, we obviously will pick which one we prefer most, but we want you to have all the information you can. And so in the spirit of that, check out the videos as well that we have linked in the description below for that. But before that, let's move on to the Tasman Glacier, which is New Zealand's longest glacier.
Yeah, so the Tasman Glacier is located in the Mount Cook National Park, which is on the east coast of the South Island. So you do have to travel, in comparison to where the West Coast glaciers are, you have to travel all the way down the West Coast, across a mountain pass, and all the way back up the East Coast. So it's located quite far away from the West Coast glaciers, but it provides an alternative option for heli-hiking on a glacier in New Zealand on the side of the South Island, which actually has some of the best weather. So you are more likely to get a day where your tour isn't going to get cancelled if you do a heli-hike on the Tasman Glacier. So that's a definite plus for the glacier on that side. Another awesome thing about the Tasman Glacier is that, yes, it is the longest glacier in New Zealand, but it's also right underneath New Zealand's highest mountain, which is Aoraki Mount Cook, and all the other super high mountains like Mount Tasman, and you're in a huge glacier valley as well. So the whole environment is super stunning. But the thing that with the Tasman Glacier is that it's actually a lot different looking than Fox Glacier and Franz Josef Glacier. The landscape is a lot flatter, but you may still find some caves on your glacier tour. So definitely when we did the tour, we were climbing through some ice caves.
So we're crawling even, not just climbing, we're crawling.
Yeah, we're squeezing our way through some tunnels.
Got to watch this video, it was like a really tight fit.
Yeah, but I do understand that actually that isn't always the case for the Tasman Glacier. So it really depends on what the glaciers are doing on that day, basically. But again, there's only 2 tour operators that go onto the Tasman Glacier, and yeah, you don't ever see another tour up there. It's just super like tranquil, serene. There's no one else around. You can hear avalanches happening around you as well,
that's true,
echoing through the valley. It's like you're absolutely alone in this amazing glacial valley. So it's definitely an amazing experience as well. That if you don't get a chance to do it on the West Coast, or even if you are not even planning to go to the West Coast, you can still get that amazing glacier experience on the East Coast at Aoraki Mount Cook National Park. Yeah, and I think that's all I got to say for the Tasman Glacier. Do you have anything else to add? Or?
Yeah, so then we are going to be picking which one is our favorite, like our personal, that's definitely our personal opinion. So I personally think that I really enjoyed Tasman Glacier most, just because the sheer scale of it. It was absolutely amazing when arriving there. Now, the reason why I think I like Tasman Glacier most is because I was lucky enough to do all the other one as well. And therefore I couldn't really compare them, and then I was just mind blown by the sheer size of it. I think that if I would only have done the only one I've done twice actually is Fox Glacier, that I done a long time ago, and then I've done right now, and I literally loved it. And I kept on saying that Fox Glacier was my favorite kind of activity to do in New Zealand until I did Tasman, just because, well, it's just I got lucky to do all of them. So if I have to pick one, I pick Tasman Glacier. Which one would you pick?
I think I would go for Franz Josef Glacier, and it's just such a varied tour. At least it was when we went on it. We were going through, there was some ice caves there. We were also going through these really narrow sort of crevasses. There was some really awesome photo opportunities with that bright blue ice as well. And yeah, just the whole valley around it was absolutely stunning. And we went with Franz Josef Glacier guiding. So even the beginning of this tour, we had to do a little bit of a bushwalk to get to the helicopter pad. So it sort of had lots of different components to the tour, which is really cool. And it was actually the first glacier that I went on in New Zealand, so I guess it had that wow factor as well. Being like the first time you go to a glacier is just unforgettable. So that's why I picked that.
All right, so I hope that this was helpful to you, Isabella, and to anyone else that is watching this video. If you guys have any extra questions, in the comments below, like and subscribe if you find this useful.